Okay guys, well, we're back at it again. I think we might have a problem. What do you think, bud?
Yeah, we have a problem.
Yeah, I think it's a sickness.
Personal, financial.
You know, it is. In fact, it's so sick. Look at this freaking thing, bro! Huh? This is old 12er's first Scout.
Oh yeah, and it's not just any ordinary Scout. 1965 dolled up Scout. With the red carpet and the red seats
And the red everything.
and the headliner and a dome light and some bling on the dash.
So this is a red carpet edition Scout, and it's got a couple cool things that are specific to it. International was known for doing cool little weird freaking special edition things. There's several of them. I learn a new one, I feel like every other year. You're like, I didn't know they made a freaking, you know, G.I. Joe version or whatever. Like there's always something. And anyway, this is what's called a red carpet edition. They only made about 3,000 of these, wasn't it? Or exactly 3,000. And so they came with a couple of cool things, like these dope mirrors, the little emblems, a dome light, headliner. All the interior was red.
The
Hence
knobs are fancy.
Red carpet edition. Yeah, so chromed out.
Red carpet in the back.
Chromed out 1100s on the dash. It does have the second seat in the back also, which is cool. And it's been covered, so it's still red.
Yep.
I don't know what condition it's in, but dude, this is like a little bit of...
This is the better of the three.
Yeah?
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, still, it's gonna be freaking sweet because we're planning on like maybe cutting and buffing or sanding and trying to like bring some of the original paint back.
Life back.
The dude we bought it from, really cool guy, nice guy, international guy too, and he was super stoked that it was going to us. After talking to him for a little while, he realized that I think he had made some new international friends.
Yeah, and this thing is what you would call a barn find. It's been in a barn in Rock Springs, Texas for about 5 years, and I got a video of it being pulled out of the barn, and so it doesn't get more OG than barn find.
And this dude's been through all kinds of stuff. Like, not only does it also have the original hubcaps and stuff, but the dude that owned it, who just had it, has gone through and he's done like rebuilt the transmission, put a clutch in it, swapped a rear axle into it.
Yeah, he re-ringed it, did bearings, went through the whole motor, make sure everything was good. It's got a new mechanical fuel pump, new clutch, lots of new gaskets.
Like the legit fuel pump too, though, like the one with the vacuum pump built in that runs the wipers and all that.
Very hard to find. All new wheel cylinders, new brake lines, new fuel lines, a poly fuel tank. I mean, all the stuff you would do to an old Scout that's been sitting, you know?
And dude, it's honestly like got some pretty solid stuff. I'm gonna show you some of the bad first. So like the bracing up here, these things are notorious for being kind of rotted out, but the toe board, the rest of the toe board is pretty freaking solid. It's got some like, these things get a pinhole in them or a punch hole or whatever, and they just hold stuff and eventually rust. But like the floor pans in this thing, look at this, dude. That's all, it's all there. Like straight up. There's a little bit of cancer. You can see that there's a little bit of cancer in the kick panel over on that side. And there's a little bit that's on this side. But truth be told, it ain't nearly as bad as a bunch of the Scouts that I've seen and the ones that I've had. So I know that that's definitely fixable. All the glass is in it, the door regulators are in there. Most of the rubber stuff is still there, even though it's not in perfect condition. A lot of it I think is definitely usable. And I would drive this thing in the rain to and from work with about, I don't know, 30 minutes worth of work.
Yeah, so the plan here is we'll get it pulled off the trailer and get it pulled around the shop, and hopefully in the next few days, I mean, maybe the next few hours, you know, make it run and drive. I know the hydraulics were all replaced, but it sat, and over the course of 5 or 6 years, it's just kind of lost the fluid to the clutch slave cylinder. So we need to bleed that. The brakes still work great. It rolls like a champ. We got it to fire up in his barn for just a minute, but we got gas issues, bad gas, old gas, no gas. So
we got some stuff to figure out.
Yeah, roll it off here and get it in the shop. I also have a bunch of really cool documentation for this thing. The guy I got it from believes that it was at the White Sands missile launch range or whatever it is in New Mexico. And so we'll show you all the literature and stuff that we got from there. It's all pretty cool.
Sweet. Well, we're gonna get this thing unloaded and get it into the shop. We'll pick back up with you guys when we pull inside. Laters. What up?
Howdy.
What's up, buddy? Hang on, I gotta focus. Your face is really dark.
Hello, am I there?
Yeah, hello, come in.
Well,
How you doing there, bud?
well, I'm doing great.
Today, we're actually doing pretty great.
Today's a great day.
Because yesterday, well, we made leaps and bounds on Steven's little Scout 80. We were having trouble with this thing, dude.
Yes,
So Steven scored the 66 red carpet that we've shown you a little bit of, and it's been sitting back here on the back porch for how long? About 2 months, huh?
yeah, a couple months.
And the whole reason for that was because we couldn't get the clutch to disengage. And it's got a brand new clutch in it.
Yep, the previous owner put a new clutch. Well, low mileage clutch. It's 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, however long it's been sitting, but it was new then. So it's a new 10-year-old clutch, if that makes sense.
That makes sense? It was new 10 years ago. Hold on, I fogged up my eyeball.
You breaths on it.
Y'all still with me? All right. So, this thing's pretty freaking original. It's pretty clean, right? Like oil bath air cleaner, original radiator, like little motor's looking solid. The inside of it, really not too bad. Right? A little dirty, got a little spider right there that wants to bite my face meat. Got the back seat. It's got the headliner that's seen better days, but it's just got cool stuff. Rear view mirror, the little dome light, like the vacuum. Wow.
Yeah,
the vacuum motors still work, and the thing runs like a freaking top, like straight up. I thought you were gonna poke my eye out. You're cleaning the spiders out of my way. What a nice guy. Thought I was being attacked. Got the cool hubcaps on it. I've only ever seen those on the what's that one top called? The sport top?
Yes.
Is that what it is? Sport
Yep.
top? Where they've got like they make another top that actually kicks down at the back, and they've got like these little filler panels and stuff. I looked at one time to buy it, but it was like completely rotten. It was white also, but anyway, it had these same hubcaps on it, and I've always thought they were pretty cool. They're not common. You don't see them very often. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. It's been sitting out here for a couple of months because we had issues with the clutch and we couldn't figure it out. We put a new master and a slave cylinder in it because it's got hydraulic. It's not a mechanical linkage on the Scouts, they're hydraulic. And so we got it hooked up and we were bleeding it, and the pedal never seemed to feel right, like no matter what we did. And
we did get all the air out of it.
We did get all the air out of it. We pulled a vacuum on it, pulled air out. I bet we've put a gallon of brake fluid through it,
there is
right?
no air in that
like,
system.
Every time scratching our head, wondering, how many gallons of brake fluid is it going to take before I get a clutch? Well, we should have been smart enough to know that we were dumb. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can be smart enough to know that you're dumb. And we realized yesterday that we were pretty dumb, because we started looking at all of the linkages on the clutch pedal, and we started looking down inside the pressure plate. Steven removed the dust cover, which is sitting over here, and we were able to look up inside of the bell housing and see what was going on. And the release fork on this thing is like cast iron. And so we're looking at the throwout bearing where it's touching the pressure plate, and it's like an inch and a half.
You want to roll under there and kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
show before I lower it all the way down?
Yeah, let's get under here.
Like right here.
There was like an inch and a half of movement on the input shaft retainer where the throwout bearing was moving before it actually touched the pressure plate. And we're like, well, that's not right, because you should have very little movement before the release fork and the throwout bearing touch the pressure plate. So let me show you right here. So here's the slave cylinder, this little guy, and it pushes on this release fork, and that pushes on the throwout bearing. Let me get my hand in there. This piece, the hydraulics push on there, it pivots, and that pushes on the throwout bearing, which pushes on the fingers of the clutch, and that releases the pressure plate to allow room between the flywheel, the pressure plate, and the disc. And that's what actually engages when you push the clutch in. It pushes on that diaphragm, it releases the pressure plate, and the engine is now separated from the transmission. And when you let off, that pressure plate puts pressure against the disc, against the flywheel, and that locks it all together, through the input shaft, because the clutch is attached to it, and that's what makes it move. So anyway, we realized that was whack. So it's got an adjustable clutch, and there's studs and little jam nuts that are down there on the clutch, on the pressure plate, and it looked like, it was worth adjusting.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
so
definitely, it's meant to be adjusted, so it's
so
worth a shot.
Why not start adjusting?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so you're following the logic, right? You can see that we're now smart enough to know that we're dumb. And so we loosened the jam nut and we started turning the stud, and it was like, oh, hey, look, the fingers are moving. It's a lot like a clutch in an 18-wheeler. In fact, it adjusts the exact same way. And so we started moving it, and I'll be doggone if the fingers didn't move closer to the throwout bearing and take that 1.5 inches of movement and turn it into 1/4 of an inch of movement. And we thought, dude, we have hit a home run. We're done, right?
Yep.
And then what? It didn't work.
Done. We were still dumb.
Yeah, so then we realized that we were dumb enough to think we were smart, right? And so it was like, dang, I've been smart enough to know I'm dumb, and now I'm dumb enough to think I'm smart. Like, will I ever figure this out? And so then we started looking inside under the dash, and we're like, well, let's see what's going on under here. Well, then we realized that this little turnbuckle yoke end, don't know. If you know what that piece is called on the end of the clutch rod, go ahead and leave a comment, because I've been working on old stuff my entire life, and I don't know what that piece is called. Threaded U-pin end thing. So, I'm going to call it like a yoke, even though that seems like the wrong word.
It's a threaded horseshoe.
Oh. 10-4. So, the threaded horseshoe, now whatever this piece is, you can see we actually spot welded it right here. Steven did yesterday, because it was bent all the way over to the side of the clutch pedal. And so we were missing, like, the rod end was actually like over here. So we were losing like 1.25 inches of travel, which is why we never really got what we thought all the air out of the clutch hydraulics, is because we were only stroking the hydraulics maybe like 3/4 of an inch. And as you well know, 3/4 of an inch of stroke ain't gonna do it, right? Need a full stroke, come on. So,
You say you need a full stroke?
no, I'm quite good.
Oh, I was coming to help.
But such a helpful young man. We pulled that thing that was bent over here to the side like a piece of trash off, took it inside, and with the 2 pairs of channel locks in about 20 minutes, we got that thing back to where it looked like it was supposed to, and it put the clutch rod where it was supposed to be, and we picked up 1.5 inches of travel, and now the clutch, well, I have this much free travel, and then that's solid right there. So we were pretty excited after that, to say the least. So we pumped the thing up, we fired it up, and I'll be doggone, I can't talk today.
Hey.
We had a freaking clutch, dude, and
Yeah.
it released.
Yes, and so for the 2 months it sat out here, we basically just thought on how to fix it.
Right.
That's what we were doing.
Yeah,
So,
we had realized that we had been dumb.
yeah.
Smart enough to know you're dumb.
Hey, one other thing that I wanted to say that we didn't catch was I put plugs and wires in this thing.
Yeah.
And this
Oh,
is
yeah,
the coil
dude.
wire I pulled off.
Bro.
It's
Hold
here.
on. I don't know.
Can you
There
focus?
it is. Yeah.
It's a OGIH international coil wire that this thing still had, and it was kind of missing. I don't even know. I think we fired it up in a previous video, If not, it was missing, and well, we fixed that, and so it sounds like it's supposed to now, so y'all get to hear it.
So now we're whole, dude.
Yeah, we're literally ready to do...
We got brakes, we got
brakes.
clutch, it runs. We should hook up the battery. In case you haven't heard it run, we're fixing to fire this thing up. So we're gonna do it right here live. This is actually recorded, but you know what I mean as far as live.
Yeah, live
maybe.
recording.
Okay, there's the positive.
Okay. Choke.
Manual choke in the dash up here.
We got neutral.
Okay. She a little rich. Just gotta play with that choke a little bit. Look at that. Oh, snap.
It's also been sitting for 8 years. It literally has no runtime, so it might shoot a rat out. You never know.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. It's like a forklift engine.
Dude, so this has got a 152 in it. It's actually exactly half of a 304 V8. You can see that the motor sits at a slant. The block's been rotated a little bit. A V8 would actually sit over just a hair, but it's exactly half of a 304. So it's a stout little motor, dude. These things are super stout.
Yeah, they made a turbo version I read about because the bottom ends of these things are insanely stout. And they mount a little turbo right here, and if all the stars align with a little Holly sniper on there and a little turbo, I mean, how cool, you know?
That would be pretty dope, right? Little blow-off valve on that ass.
Built about 4 pounds.
So we've been pretty excited. We really wanted to go for riding this thing since Steven bought it, and we just haven't. We obviously got some electrical and stuff to work on. This is with any Scout, but it doesn't look like it's touching the manifold down there. We got a few loose wires that we're gonna try not to let touch anything and burn to the ground. But, all right, let's go for a ride in this thing. You excited, bud?
Oh, yeah. Do you know where reverse is?
Yeah, I think it's all the way up to the left. Or up to the right. Okay, yeah, cool. Bro.
Brakes?
I can actually hear the little disc sliding on the flywheel. Woo!
Bro, we're driving 1965 Scout.
I think I said 66 earlier. It's a 65.
I'm pretty sure it's a 65.
Yeah.
From,
I think 66 is the 800.
yeah.
But dude, it's a red carpet, so it's got cool little stuff like even this dash pad. This is neat. Most of your Scouts don't have that. It's also kind of weird that it's a red carpet, but it has a radio delete.
Yeah.
Like, I want a dolled up Scout, but I don't want a radio.
No, I ain't listening to no music.
What kind of freak orders that? Who knows? Bro, Speedo works? Come on.
Dude. We're just gonna go right here, just a little bit. I need to get into third gear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. God, I love old junk.
That's all the gears.
I love it.
I'll turn around right here so we can,
Bro, it's got a clutch in it, bud.
we're full-wheel drive.
Oh, hell. Full-wheel driving through the bar ditch. Here we go. Dude, little torque.
Come on, hammer down. I think we're getting the fast lane.
Yeah. Woo, doggy.
Bro, we're getting up on 40?
Damn, dude.
Come on. This must be the high output version, bro.
Yeah. Dude, bro, we hit 38 miles an hour.
You hit the brakes and it doesn't even pull.
Dude.
People behind us probably wondering what happened.
I think it's so cool that Steven bought this to give it to me. Like, it's just the coolest thing.
Yeah.
You know?
You've heard of Indian giving, right?
Yeah, it's weird. He's acted like it was all his the whole time, and then he was just like, Willie, you can have this thing, you know? And so I'm so thankful, dude.
You're welcome, man.
I'm glad this is all about me. Dude, this is so freaking cool. When we were kids, we had a 65 Scout 80 and learned to drive in it.
A white one too, like very similar to this.
This is too cool to come full circle and to cruise this thing around. And the fact that it was sitting so long over something so silly, it just reminds you, dude, that a lot of the times it's easy to overthink it. And so don't overthink it. Find something cool and old, make it run again, because it's very rewarding.
It is, extremely, especially when it's been sitting for years and years, because when all the stuff works, like the brakes and the fuel tank and the, like, dude, like, I mean,
it makes you appreciate it. Makes you appreciate it so much. Internationals are freaking cool. Find an international and save it. All right. If you didn't learn anything else from this, just find something cool and bring it back to life.
Or find an international and tell us where it is, and we'll save it.
That also,
because we like to do that.
Yeah, if you find cool internationals, shh,
don't tell
anyone.
me. Yeah,
not him, me. Call me. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Till next time, y'all. Later.